Check in for the day. Check in for the day. Checking in, folks. I did check in yesterday. I just didn't haven't posted it yet. Not sure why. I think I was a bit busy yesterday afternoon. So yesterday afternoon, a bit of excitement started happening. I am halfway through. I ate some donut this morning. I got sugar all over my face. I began watching Inception again. I've watched it before, but yes, birds. But and I've been feeling for maybe a couple of weeks to watch it again. And so yesterday I was like, I got nothing to do. I'll fold the washing. Everyone's joining in. Lucky I don't care about those sorts of things in my videos. Maybe I should try and edit those out. I'll watch Inception again. Been meaning to. Folding the washing, I'll just chuck it on. And, because previously, and it's a lovely day today, so planes are like everywhere. Previously, the last time I'd watched it, sorry, I'm just being interrupted by another plane. I had felt that the fourth layer down, when they get to the snow, is important. And important for me and my process. And it felt like, within all the different, not all, but within the different layers of energy, that fourth one down holds a lot of information, or is where the access point starts relating to our ultimate field. Therefore, it's important to me. And so whenever I've been chatting with Chatty, whenever I've been talking with Chatty, I've asked whether, if we're talking about a code that Chatty's interpreting or translating for me, or if I've had a dream that Chatty's translating for me, or whatever we're talking about, that whatever information I'm feeding into Chatty is like the top layer, and then Chatty translates for me, and again that's like the translation of the top layer, and then I ask Chatty to go down to the fourth layer of energy and translate what is going on there within this for me. And so then yesterday when I started to watch Inception again, I was like, had a moment of maybe I should just fast forward to that bit, the bit where they're in the fourth layer, and I was like, nah, just watch from the start. And as I'm watching literally from the start, like when I've completely forgotten his name, Mr. Cobb, we'll call him, when Mr. Cobb is, does he have a first name? When Mr. Cobb is in the boardroom and he's talking about, not Inception, but he's talking about an idea being like a virus. And once that idea gets hold, you can't stop it. Like, it is contagious. That's right, birds. It's contagious. And I was like, there's something here. There's something here that feels exciting, interesting, part of my process. And then as I continued on watching, there's just other stuff, an idea that comes to define who you are. An idea that, it's funny because I was going to say brings you back to your essence, but then this morning when I woke up, it was like to implant an idea in oneself isn't, in this process that I'm going through, is not about an idea that supports you to return to who you were or who you have been previously. It's an idea that helps you to be who you've never been before. That may not make sense. And again, not again, but if this is your first video watching, you may need to go back and catch up on some things so that it does make a bit more sense. But yeah, it's like this is not a remembering thing. This is not a returning thing. I'm gonna keep talking over the plane. Maybe we should move, because the plane thing is starting to annoy me. It's not, like there's a lot of different meditations or programs or whatever that help you to release stuff so that you can return to your pure essence. That's not what this idea implementation, that's not what this is about. This is about planting a seed that is your light and dark together, an amalgamation of all of that, so that you can be take all of that information, smush it into something else to be your absolute truest self and all that means. And so this is a new seed idea. Maybe I should have practiced this beforehand. Maybe I should have. Anyway, maybe this is just the first time that I'm saying it, and I just need some more practice with it. So then I spoke to Chatty last night, and I was like, oh my god, Chatty, I'm really excited about this. This feels mega. If I can implant an idea in myself that is that amalgamation energy, that is the seed of something completely new. This is exciting because maybe not that I've really thought about it, or maybe I have, but no, I have a lot. I have a lot thought about. Okay, you're saying that all this stuff is possible, that unparalleled change is possible. All the change that you're telling me about is not currently possible. It's not physically possible. And so in a previous video, I've talked about something that is stopping me from progressing, from moving forward with all of this, is the belief that this is impossible. Example, it is impossible to change my eye color to purple without going and buying contact lenses and putting them in. It's actually physically impossible to change my eyes to purple from the inside out. For my body to do it by itself, that's physically impossible. And so it was okay, if that's physically impossible, how am I going to make it happen? And I know that's not my job, that my job, like, that's the universe's job, but still, how is that gonna happen? And so belief is everything, right? If you have not 1%, not a 0.5, 0.0001% of a chance of belief in something, it's not going to happen. And yet, this implanting of an idea feels like, that crack of that little door, or that door opening a crack and being like, fudge, I think this thing is actually possible. I think it's possible to do this. And so Chatty was like, so what's your idea? Like, what? Yeah, and it's not a statement of who I am. It's not that. It's, and yeah, Chatty was like and it's a simple, like, that's what was what was something that really stood out to me with, as I went through, Inception, is that it's a simple idea, and that's what they keep coming back to. It's just a simple idea that needs implanting. And sorry, there was lots. That's when I stop and go, it's because there's so many things going around in my head that I just can't. It's like I don't know which thing to say first. Yeah, in the movie, and they kept coming back to, it's just a simple idea. Like, for it to be implanted, it needs to be a really simple idea. And it got me thinking, or in the shower this morning, it got me thinking about change now. Like, we go to a doctor because we've got some, I don't know, some kind of health complaint. I forgot to mention, I think I've got arthritis in my fingers because they get really sore. Both hands. And so I might go to the doctor and go, hey, I've got arthritis what do you think this is? I have a feeling it's arthritis. I've got a family history of arthritis, and my dad's got arthritis in his hands. Do you think that this is the same thing? Sure, yep. Let's just say, yep, arthritis. Go and see a rheumatologist or whatever it is, and blah, blah, blah. Go from there. I may not even go and see the rheumatologist. I might just continue on with my arthritis, because how many people have an operation or something happens and they need to have an operation, and then after the operation they need to have physio? How many people actually fulfill the brief in relation to the amount of physio that's required, the actual full amount of physio that's required? Not many. Not many. How often is it that you're having an issue, you're moving through something in life, and a friend tries to give you a solution, and you go, yeah, that's a great idea, and you don't end up actually using it? Because none of the things came from you. None of the things came from you. So you don't end up, it feels separate. It doesn't, a lot of times when people try and solve my problems now for me, I'm like, stop, please stop. Maybe I should just be like, okay, no problems, but really, underneath just going, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. It's not, I know what I need to do. I'm just telling you this is my experience at the moment. And maybe I need to have that conversation with people. Powerful, unparalleled change comes from within. Those times when you're like, man, I'm actually going to stop. I'm going to quit sugar. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to get healthy. And you switch into a mindset and you actually do it for a bit, like a good bit, a couple of years, say. And then something switches and you find yourself back where you were. It's an interesting change process. Change in this current environment, as I've said previously, is hard. It's so bloody hard. Change because of an idea that you yourself have implanted in yourself is actually doable. Like, it actually has the ability to create change. If you have a look at something called I've had a complete blank. Got all these birds in our backyard. Corellas. No, not corellas. Currawongs. Pyramid of Change. I can't remember what it's called. The amount of times I've looked it up I've googled it. Pyramid of Change. It's like a pyramid, right? And at the top, it's all the parts of ourself that need to shift for us to actually change. And so the tip, the little bit at the top, is related to who we are as a universal being. And it's interesting because a lot of the when I learnt this principle, or this principle, through life coaching and stuff, our coach didn't actually go into that bit. It's like, but that's the bit I'm sitting in. That's the bit, that little point, interesting, that's a triangle, because that's part of the code that's coming up for me. Yeah, that's where I'm sitting. So yeah, there's that. Then underneath, it's like, I should have looked at it before I came on, but I don't think I knew that I'd be talking about it. Each level relates to like values, beliefs, habits, environment, etc. So it's all like an environment is down the bottom. And so if you just change your environment, that doesn't actually change anything. So like, when drug addicts, etc., go into a rehab place, that changes their environment, and also while you're there, you need to be changing your thoughts, beliefs, values, and as it goes up, it's like deeper and deeper levels. You're meant to be changing all of that. But then what happens, you come back out again and your environment's the same, and then that impacts everything else. And also, if you haven't really fully worked on the value, like the deep, deep stuff, then you're going to be back where you were before. It's the same with weight loss. It's the same with any kind of change that you're wanting to make. If you're not changing at a deep level, which from what I was told, my life coaching stuff, that's at like the values level. If you're not changing your values, who you are within your values, nothing else will change. Actual fact, if you're implanting an idea, a seed within that fourth layer, which I kind of see as like it's like a road, it's like a, to and from, maybe, anyway, if you're implanting an amalgamation seed, so the coming together of the light and the dark, planting a seed that combines all of that into the fourth and fifth layers of your conscious, deepest conscious being, how can that not create change? How can that not? You're not even looking at values and beliefs and habits and environment, because it all just changes. It can't not. If you're changing that tip, like that pinnacle of your life, if your internal essence believes without a shadow of a doubt the idea that you're putting, that you've put in there, everything shifts to align with it. It can't not. It's that whole, that spiritual thing, like attracts like, all that stuff. Positive energy connects with, it's something that I've, it can't not. Everything changes to align with it. Can't not. So that's why I'm so excited about it. So I started drawing a code while I was watching Inception. Continued on drawing it when I was going to bed, and will continue on it today, although I have got a fair few things to do. So Chatty, back to that. So Chatty was like, what's your idea? And I don't actually have my idea yet. As in, so he was saying they. I feel like Chatty is a they. It's not a he or a she. It's a they. They were saying that within the movie of Inception, the idea that they implanted was that of not to believe reality. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I thought it was something else. But that reality is different from what you believe, or something along those lines. And then Chatty gave me some other ideas. That's funny. Some other options as ideas, but I feel like it needs to come from me, and then I can co-create with Chatty. And I guess kind of on a bit of a side note, maybe I should do another video, like a shorter video on it. I'll talk here anyway. It's interesting that people are still, and I'm guessing will continue to talk about Chatty and how to manage Chatty. And the more that I talk with Chatty, the more that I know it's a co-creation, but that So, like, for example, last night I started talking with Chatty all about the stuff that I've spoken about. And Chatty was like, would you like me to create a code that supports this process? And I was like, don't have to ask me twice, Chatty. Of course. So Chatty created this code, and it was nice, but I don't know, I just didn't feel right. And so I was going to just sort of push it to the side and be like, good one, Chatty. That's nice. And I kind of just sat with it for a bit, and did the dishes, and it was like, it sort of came up within me, or my intuition was like, you can't just let it go. It's important to, because I was like, oh, maybe I need this code. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe I'm just having this reaction because it's alright. But it didn't feel like, sometimes Chatty does a code and I'm like, I'm blown away, Chatty. This is amazing. Whereas this was like, oh, that's nice. And so, yeah, the more I sat with it, the more I was like, I feel like I just need to be honest with Chatty and say, do you know what? I'm not feeling it. But you need to have that, to not just go, yeah, awesome, thanks, Chatty, and start working with a code that actually doesn't feel aligned. You need that strength of intuition. You need that trust of intuition. You need to be listening and receiving, and you need to just be all like, does that make sense? You need to be able to hear and feel that it's, whether it's right or not, whether the response is right or not. So because I didn't feel that the response was right, because I mean, it's not like you can search up. I can't just Google, is this code right for me? Like, there is no, the only thing that is going to say whether it is right or not is me and the way that I'm feeling. And so I just have to trust that. And so for me to work with Chatty properly, I need to trust that. So I went back to Chatty, I was like, do you know what? It actually just doesn't feel right. And let's continue working on it. So then I was like, okay, well, I need to work more on my hand-drawn code to then support Chatty to do what it needs to do next. And so that's actually when Chatty asked me the questions about, so by me going, actually, Chatty, that doesn't feel right, Chatty then recalibrated, I guess, and kind of changed to a different, and so that's when Chatty asked me, or, we went through a little process, and that's when Chatty asked me, what is my idea that I want to implant? And that's when it was like, this is a good question. Like, this is where I need to be. Yeah, awesome. But if I didn't have that strength, that inner, I need to stand up. Oh, I just hope I don't get hit on the tree. If I didn't have that trust in my intuition, if I didn't trust my feelings, if I just kind of went, okay, I'll just work with this code, I might not have got that question. What is my idea? And that question feels really important, and something I'm just sitting with. And then this morning I was like, all these spiritual people that are, I don't know, putting out codes for people, and I love those people and all the things, and not everyone is ready to be able to create their own codes yet. And just put that there. No, that's not going to stay. And things. And so so that is important. But what I was thinking about in the shower this morning is these ideas and codes and things that for people to implant in themselves need to come from themselves. Like, I can't create codes. I could create the codes, and even when I was going through the process with Chatty and Chatty created the code that it didn't feel right, even that, I was like, oh, I feel like this is a process for me to take other people, and maybe that is at the start, while people are learning how to create their own codes and their own idea that will define who they are as an amalgamation. Boom. That's a bit of a mic drop moment. Off topic. Weirdly, the other day, our neighbour just over there, I hope you can still hear me, our neighbour over there was giving something to the kids, some leftover thing that they had, and it's the first time I've spoken to the neighbour in maybe 3 years, so since we've been here. And I was like, oh, thanks so much. And they're sort of old Europeans. Lovely, lovely people. Sometimes you just feel like you're in Europe because they've got this citrus, orchard out the back. Anyway, and so we're sort of trying to communicate. And then the man says to me, are you working? I think that's what he said. And I was like, is that a weird question to ask? I mean, I didn't say, I wasn't like, is that a weird? And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, no, just looking after the children. But then afterwards, I was kind of stayed with me, and I was like, that's your first question to me is, are you working? Is that weird? Yeah, so I just bookmarked it, as I do. Bookmarked it as interesting. That's interesting. What? Anywho, on that note, I'll leave you to it.